Hey. Hey, what's going on, man? I got to figure out how to share this and we'll get rolling. What does that mean? Guys, this is all new to me, so forgive me as I learn this. I'm assuming the 30 means there's 30 people in here, but how do I share this link? Oh, there it is. Okay. I think I got it. Copy that. Let me send that to myself. Winston, how do you do this? All right, give me a second. Give me a second. New message. I gotta message this stinking thing to myself. Hey, I'm done. All right, guys, give me one more second. I'm trying to figure out how to share this dang thing on a screen. Winston's not helping me. Hey. Give him a hand. Yeah, he's not. He's technologically not good at this. Hey. Copy. I know. Life is rough. Hey. Okay, almost done. Here we go. Take a picture of that screen. Share the link. Guys, I should have done this before, probably. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, how do I look at comments? Hey, so what I was thinking was, hey, come over. What I was thinking is, hey, sit up here. Or not. Okay, never mind. What I was thinking is maybe once a week, I would do a live stream where we can just go through question and answer with me and my dog, who obviously does not want to be a part of this video feed. So anyways, we're going to go some questions. I don't really have a format for this. Like, I thought about maybe putting down some questions that I might want to start off with, but you guys already have a bunch of questions. We can just start knocking that out, and I don't even really need to talk about random stuff. So I'm going to look at my chat, and we're going to start with that. What's on tap for tonight? So anything, really. So if this goes over well, we might try to do one once every 2 weeks or once every week. I've honestly never tried a YouTube live before or an Instagram live or a Facebook live. So this is the first kind of, well, that's not true. I did it with Fortnite once. I streamed it, answered questions. That was really hard because I was trying to concentrate on playing and being terrible and also answering questions. And so it was very hard to be good at any of them. So let's just start knocking out some questions, right? So put some stuff in the chat and I'll start answering any of you guys' questions. It could be about anything. Still scrolling through this. Give me a sec. Hi from Turlock, California. I am great friends of your Auntie Shell and Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul is my hands down most favorite uncle because I almost look like him. Appreciate it. How many times do you work out a day? So let me go through real quickly what my week kind of looks like as my dog runs around the floor. So usually my day looks like I wake up in the morning, I knock out some monostructural in the morning, early in the morning, usually before 8, usually around 7 o'clock. Sometimes it's monostructural. Sometimes it's just, honestly, sometimes it's just prepping the body for the rest of the day, right? So if I know I'm going to snatch later or I'm going to clean later or I know what I'm doing later, I'm prepping my body for the fact that what I'm going to do later, something I do then is prep myself for later, right? So I'm doing monostructural work. Maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I'm doing glute activation. Sometimes it's practicing really some skills that are really not very intense on my body. So maybe I'm practicing strict muscle ups, stuff like that. When it comes down to it, mostly recently, it's been a lot of rowing intervals. I'm not amazing at rowing. And for me, rowing intervals doesn't tax my body in such a way that I can't do anything for the rest of the day. Then I eat breakfast, go to the gym. I work from my house to get a little work done. I'm going to the gym around lunchtime. I'll work out a little more. And then I'm back at my barn at 5:30, where I have myself, my full-time training partner, who's Andrew Kiekler, and then the two teenage athlete girls that I train. One's Olivia and one's Ellie Kerstetter. And they come out and they work out with me till 5:30 to about 7:30. I think we were out though till 7:30 last night. So yeah, that's my daily schedule. All right. Holy crap. These questions are rolling so fast. Hi, Jacob. I was one of the winners of the Nike giveaway. Can you give away some knowledge for my college final tomorrow? I don't know crap. Yo, I don't know what your final's about, so I can't answer that question. So in case you guys didn't know, I actually graduated from a small university here in Missouri, Central Methodist University, and I actually have my bachelor's in mathematics. Most people think that if you are good at CrossFit, you obviously studied in the physical fitness field. Not true. I got my degree in math. I went for my master's in operations research and systems analysis. Didn't finish it, did a little bit of that, and decided to stop. And then I'm obviously doing a lot of CrossFit now, so I'm not going back to school at this time. So unless your college final is on stats, algebra, trig, calculus, linear algebra, matrix theory, I can do it. Other than that, don't ask me for help on English. I won't help you out. How old were you when you and your wife got married? We just had our 4-year wedding anniversary. I'm 28, so that puts me at 24. I was 24, and I believe she was 22 at the time. Yeah, so I actually got married June 19th, and that would be my first year I went to the games, and I actually got married and then had to leave the very next day to actually go to the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Games at the time. So my honeymoon for 3 years of our marriage was actually at the games. So I promised my wife that the first year I didn't make it to the games for whatever reason, whether, I didn't qualify, or I was injured, or the game stopped existing or whatever, I would take her on the honeymoon that she deserved. And so the first year I didn't make it due to bursitis in my knee. I took her to Bora Bora. So lucky gal. All right. Are you doing Wodapalooza? No, I wasn't able to do the first week of qualifiers because I was actually in Spain. I was actually in the Canary Islands in Spain, teaching a camp there. And so Wodapalooza and Dubai came out at the same time, and I had to really kind of just choose one. And Wodapalooza had 2 workouts. Dubai had 1. So I knocked out Dubai and did that. It was a lot easier to do because I only had a few days because I was traveling. So I will not be doing Wodapalooza. Took your advice on the Black & Decker massager. Are there any other CrossFit hacks? Yeah, so you guys, we actually have this in my barn gym now. Have you guys ever seen like TRX bands? So TRX bands are the bands they're bands, but they're not really bands. Like they don't stretch, but they're essentially you hang them like rings in a rig, and they come down, and at the bottom you can put your feet in them. There's like a little handle. You can put your heels or your feet or anything. So we do a lot of glute ham work or hamstring curls. Essentially, we lay with our back on the ground and put our heels in the stirrups of the TRX band. Essentially, we're doing curls for our hamstrings, right? Keeping our torso and our quads at a similar level. And actually, a good hack for that is instead of spending like $30 or $70 on TRX bands, you just get rings and you put duct tape across a bunch of times. So we have that in the barn. Cheap solution, duct tape. It's the greatest thing ever invented. All right. Austin John, the Wodapalooza workout you crushed for fun. Yep, Brian. I decided it was up my alley. I didn't do it last year. I honestly didn't go in with it, the idea of doing the full 60 minutes. I actually on my board wrote down 15 rounds. So if I wrote the 30 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, if I get 30 minutes, like that'd be impressive. Yeah. And then I got to 25 minutes in, and I decided, you know what? I could probably do better than 30 minutes. I'll go to 40 minutes. And then I went to 40, got almost to 40. And a buddy of mine walked over, wrote on the board and said, just finish the dang thing. Do it for Instagram. Everyone wants to see it. So I just decided to finish it. And my hands are actually getting better, but they still hurt quite a bit. So hang power snatch has never felt so good. Okay. Should I do a normal CrossFit class or get into a pro program like Comp Train or something? Hi from Washington. Thanks, Matt. So it depends on what your goals are, right? So to be honest, like you can still get a good intense workout and get a lot of work done on just a regular class program. So for instance, our gym, Cobra Command CrossFit, right? Our head coach is Andrew Kiekler, who I actually train with. You'll see him on like a ton of my videos. You want to go outside? Hold on real fast. I'm going to open the door. You go outside if you want to, buddy. There you go. Go outside if you want to. So, like I was saying, he does a program for our gym, and the program is actually very solid. It's very well thought out. And sometimes like putting in an hour a day, even if it's just good, intense work and it has a good thought process behind it, you don't have to put in 3 hours a day of work to become really good, right? A good, well thought out 60 minutes of you're hitting your first year mobilizing, then we're hitting some strength, and then we're hitting a Metcon. Honestly, that's what you need. Sometimes it doesn't matter what program you're on, right? There's not like a magic program like, oh, this is the magic program. Like this will get you to the games. It really depends on the work you put in the program you choose. So if you're doing your own programming, if you put in the work in, you can be good. If you do, what is Rich doing or Comp Train or Chris Spieler or Brute or blah, 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 blah. It just depends on what you put into the programming that really matters. Good question though, Matt. You do look like him. Thank you. Biggest struggle. So biggest struggle when you started your fitness/CrossFit journey. Jackson, I'm going to pronounce your last name as Sky. Maybe it's Skay. I don't know. Yeah, so I actually still struggle with it today. So when I was in high school, I actually completely tore my ACL, and due to movement when I was playing high school football. And I think most of the problem with that is I have really weak glutes. You might think, holy crap, Jacob Heppner has got a huge butt. Yeah, well, just because you have a huge butt doesn't mean you know how to use said huge butt, right? So I do a lot of glute activation work, and I'm still working on it today, right? Like no one's perfect. We all come into this sport or come into any sport with some kind of lacking something, right? So for me, I lacked the ability to be explosive, the ability to be fast under duress, meaning Olympic lifts, and the ability for glute activation. Like you can see that in a lot of my lifts, right? My knees cave in sometimes when we squat. I mean, so does a lot of people. My knees cave in sometimes when I clean. Like it happens to the best of us. And so right now I'm working on a lot of glute activation drills, and my butt is literally always sore. That didn't go over like a great statement. We're just going to move on. Okay, holy crap, these are coming in fast. Sorry. So if I skip over your question, it's not because I don't like your question or don't like you personally. It's because they're coming in so fast I have to grab them as they go. Hi from Puerto Rico, Jose. Okay, Jose, we're going to try your name. Jose Badishtini. Crushed it. Hi from Puerto Rico. On your day off, do you still take a protein shake? Jose, great question. Yeah, so it's either going to be up tonight or it's going to be up tomorrow. But so last week or 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I did a full day of training and eating, right? Video for my vlog where I showed you literally everything I ate and everything I did that day for training. And so I decided, you know what? There was a lot of really good questions that you're asking right now, Jose, on, hey, well, what do you eat on your rest day? Great question. I didn't honestly think that people really care what I did on my rest day. So I actually finished filming what I do, everything I eat on a full day of eating, a full day of what I ate that day on a rest day and what I do on a rest day, right? So today was actually a rest day. I take my Thursdays off. So I just finished that. That should be up either tonight or tomorrow. And yes, Winston is in it, so it's worth your while to watch it. Because if Winston's not in it, is it really a video? Is it even worth your time? Probably not. All right, moving on. Good question, Jose. How many times in the week do you do gym exercises? Jorge, I probably mispronounced that. So I usually work out 2 to 3 times a day, 5 days a week, if that answers your question. Biggest struggle when starting your fitness, CrossFit. I already answered that one. Holy crap. Okay, going back. Sorry, guys. We're learning how to work this chat. It's not super user-friendly. Come once to Latin America, Fran Leon. I've been to Latin America, my friend. I've been there a couple times. I was in Brazil. That's actually South America. Sorry. Been to Mexico a couple times. Tomorrow I start 3 days. Any advice? Tomorrow I start 3 days of competition. Any advice? Bruce Rope. Not Rope. That's an awesome last name. Bruce, so just because you see us on TV or you see us competing or you watch the games or whatever, like it's just because we're competing, we've done it before, does not mean that we're not nervous, right? So I still get nervous to this day. The best way I've found to get around said nervousness, and you can ask anybody that I compete with, and they'll probably say the same thing about me, is I enjoy hanging out with those guys, making jokes, having a good time, and laughing. That for me is a good release to be like, okay, like we're having a good time. Don't worry about the people watching. Like, just do your thing. You're hanging out. Imagine you're hanging out with a bunch of bros, just all working out. We're having a big bro sesh, right? You may not be curling, but you're working out and doing CrossFit, and we do that all the time. So that's what I do. I like to have a laid-back atmosphere, laugh, and have a good time, and it always goes better. Hey, man, I love your Instagram comment. Definitely push me every day. Question, how much do you weigh now, and what is your ideal competition weight? I usually stay at the same weight throughout the year. I'm usually between 192 to 195. That is in American pounds. Tips for everyone who's starting to do CrossFit. Yeah, that's a good question. So my biggest piece of advice to someone who is doing CrossFit is you have to work on what you're not good at, right? So CrossFit is a super, super humbling sport, right? There's so many different things that can test, the unknown and unknowable, that there's so many things that you could be good at and you can be bad at. So there's always something to work on. For me, what is there to work on? 1 rep max lifts, explosive power. I mean, those are things that I have never been known to be good for, and just absolute max strength. So those are things I'm working on, right? Because they humble me daily. So you might be different, right? So you might be like, man, I love snatching, but I freaking hate toes to bar. And so that is what you need to work on. So you have to assess yourself and say, okay, I can go into the gym every day and do pull-ups and feel amazing about myself because I'm good at pull-ups. But at the end of the day, did I really get better? Did I fix something? Did I improve? Probably not. I mean, I might have got better at pull-ups, but like I didn't improve what I'm not good at. And when it comes to a competition, the things that you're not good at can hurt you so bad that if you're good at something, it doesn't like help you that much more. So my point is, you need to work on what you're not good at, what your quote unquote, what I call them, what your goats are, right? Like what you're not good at. I don't know why I call them goats. I think it's a military term. Don't ask me. Hey, come to Chicago. No, I don't want to come to Chicago. There's too many people. That's why I live in the Midwest in the middle of nowhere. I like escaping civilization and being out in the middle of nowhere. How's my Elaine? Why do you guys got like the hardest last names? Elaine Baj, you know who you are. How's your Quidditch career going? Terribly. I played it once. I was actually semi-decent at it, but I think it's because as the game got further, everyone got tired and I wasn't, and I slowly started getting the hang of it, and everyone was getting tired, and it was like going like this. They're getting tired. I'm kind of learning the sport, and at some point, the scales tipped, and I was slightly better for like 3 minutes, and then the game ended. Jordan Jones, I would love to have a barn/garage gym like you. Tips for getting one started. So my barn gym is a 30 by 40 pre-existing structure. When I bought my property and bought my house, it actually was on there. It was like a tinkering, like a mechanical shop. He was like a tinker. And so I had to have it insulated, had to put lights in it and put heat for propane. But yeah, you can really do it anywhere, honestly. I've seen people do it in like the smallest garages. I mean, like for instance, prime example, look at Craig Ritchie or Team Ritchie on YouTube. Like he is in London, which isn't known for having big garages probably, or even having garages. and he has a legit gym in his garage that's like the size of this room or smaller. Like, you can do it anywhere. You should be willing to like lose that space and create it yourself. Yeah. What made you start vlogging? Glad you did it. Honestly, Jason Nelson, I don't know. Someone was like, dude, Jacob, you're kind of exciting to follow. You do some random stuff. You have a good personality. You could consider vlogging. And I was like, I don't know. Did you mean what's vlogging? And he had to explain it to me. And I was like, oh, that could be kind of cool. Hold on. I was like, well, that could be kind of cool. So anyways, I decided to start it. And here we are. Hold on fast. Okay. Have you seen anybody else get 30 rounds in the qualifier? No. Dolphin pulse all day. Attaboy, Mason. Where's Tim Ritchie and Hugh Jazz? They're in London. They're 6 hours different from me. They should be here, though. Dang, these comments are not, like, chronologically ordered. Not sure which crews. Jacob, not sure if you mentioned this already. When was the last time you trained with Coach Nick Fowler and Brute? Last time I was in Salt Lake City was a while ago. It was before the Open last year. I don't remember when. It was like, I think it was last early spring or last December maybe. I saw a lot of questions on the belt squat machine. How has that thing changed your training? Joshua Thomas. Yeah, so the belt squat machine. Purpose of the belt squat machine is anytime anybody does a back squat, you put a bar on your back. Whether you're back squatting, front squatting, overhead squatting, you have weight overhead, right? So the weight is not only in your legs, but it's also being held up by your spine. The beauty of the belt squat machine is the fact that it's hip loaded, so it's only at my hips and below. So it's unweighted on my back. Therefore, if I have an injury, like a broken arm or a bad back or like, a shoulder problem, I can still squat because I don't have to have a bar. I'm not holding a bar up. I now have all the weight on my legs. The step ups I do are mainly for quad and glute. It depends on the height you use. I've kind of found testing a little bit. And so, yeah, it's a great tool. I love it. It's a little bit expensive, so not many places have it. But I think it's a big piece of equipment. So it does take up a lot of space in my barn, but I thoroughly enjoy having it. It's a great tool to use. I've enjoyed it. It sucks. Will Winston run Murph with you? No. This one time he ran, Hunter McIntyre was over here for a couple days, and Winston ran 3 miles of Hunter McIntyre. I don't know why Hunter let him run with him. And he came back, and that dog passed out the rest of the day. He was done. Can you imagine running 3 miles on like 4-inch legs? It's like 8 miles in like corgi distance. Any thoughts on forming a super team for one of the qualifiers? Haven't considered it yet, honestly. I'm going to go individual unless it just doesn't work out. Then maybe I'll scrap together a team for the last qualifier. We will see. Will you have your team take some footage of you on the upcoming qualifier in Dubai with you? So I do my own filming. So for all the vlogs I do, it's literally just me with a camera. Like, I don't have anybody else do it. So the editing, I all do myself, unless it's really super specific editing, like the counters you guys see on my workouts, like the timer and the counter below it. Like, that's done by a gentleman named Omar Pastrama, who I found. He lives in Texas. He hit me up. He showed me how to do some of it, or he does it himself. I'm sorry. And so other than that editing, and the gentleman who does a little bit of my vlog editing, Billy, I do all the editing myself. So it's all a learning process. I enjoy it. It's a creative outlet. I love it, but I do it all myself. So any advice for teen athletes? John, the same advice that I give to people working on regular people who are not teen athletes is the same advice I give teen athletes. Work on what you're not good at. It applies to everyone, whether you're a master's teen or a regular aged person, 18 to 34. That was weird. Jacob, you're my favorite CrossFitter because you do fan interaction like this. Pow, pow. My wife's texting me right now, so we're going to have to cut this off pretty soon because I'm not home. But we'll go for a couple more minutes and then I'll head home. Favorite Star Wars character and why? Dude, I knew you'd ask that question. I knew you would, Joey. Favorite Star Wars character. I actually said it in a... Oh, guys, look. Are you here? Are you going to answer some questions? Is that a yes? Favorite... I'll move this side so you guys can see him. Favorite Star Wars character is... This is going to be super nerdy. Is Thrawn. Rich, how long before you offer a camp at your site? When you mean site, you mean the gym or my barn? Because I don't want to invite a bunch of random strangers to my barn. That would be cool. Will you decrease volume of workouts as the games get closer or keep at the same pace year round? So I'm actually decreased right now. You might think it's actually really high. It's really not. I only do about 1 to maybe 2 Metcons a day. I just make sure to post them, right? So other than that, it's a lot of lifting. So it'll change as the year goes on, like, right? So as the games get closer, if I happen to be blessed to be able to go to the games, yeah, training will definitely change and include a lot more Metcons and a little less strength. What's your weakest movement? Olivia Taylor. And what do you do to work on to strengthen it? My weakest movement is Olympic lifts, snatch, clean and jerk, absolute strength or brute strength. So we're talking squat, deadlift, press, right? So all the big lifts. So what do I do to work on it? Do it all the time and do a lot of it. A lot of percentage work. He wants to go home. You want to go home and see mom? Any tips on doing CrossFit if you can't afford to go to a gym? Lauren McKnight. So this is what I usually say to people who say they can't afford CrossFit is, I don't know your situation, but sometimes literally people literally can't afford CrossFit. You're right, like in general. But sometimes people can, but they don't want to afford it, right? So the thing is, the question I usually ask is, do you have a family? Do you go out to eat with your family a couple times a month? How many times do you go out to eat? Or if you don't have a family, how many times do you go out to Starbucks and get a coffee, right? And if you say, oh yeah, I go to Starbucks like every other day or like a couple times a week, or if you have a family and you're like, oh yeah, my family and I go, chill out, dude. My family and I go out to eat like once a week. The question that I usually raise is, well, can you decrease that a little bit? Can you save yourself some money in some area? Because people tend to undervalue their fitness and their health, right? They think, oh, I need my coffee or I need to take my family out to dinner. Well, do you really need that? Or do you really need to improve your health and improve your fitness and whereby save some money in one area and spend it in an area that benefits your health? That's usually my go-to when people ask or tell us, hey, I can't afford a membership at C3 or I can't afford a CrossFit membership. Is this, oh, yeah. What? Okay, I can't see as far away, guys, because I don't have my glasses on. Chris, just had surgery yesterday for a turn pec. Looks like I have 4 to 6 months of recovery. Do you have a suggestion for me being able to stay in shape? Oh, monkeys. For being able to do much CrossFit. Yeah, Chris, so I would recommend, one, you're obviously going to be doing like some rehab, right? So I would recommend finding a good gym that has a good coach that knows their way around that, right? So for instance, our head coach, Andrew, if you rolled in and said, hey, I have a torn pec, I need some help, I can't do certain movements, he'd probably say, hey, let's do some PT together, some personal training, and I'll make sure you get all these movements that'll definitely benefit you. That way you're not out of shape once your rehab's done and you can start working again when your pecs run up. Get better. Hope your surgery goes well, or I hope it went well and your rehab goes better. Okay. Yeah, we understand. My dog was totally distracted until she heard Winston bark. Now she's completely fixed on the screen. Good. That's a good dog. What's the most important skill in CrossFit? I don't think there really is one. Probably. Okay. Hey guys, so I'm gonna answer probably 2 more questions, and then I'm probably gonna go home. because I think my dog wants to go home. Okay. Ow. I know. Life is rough. Okay, so I'm gonna pick 2 more, and then we're gonna get rolling. Winston is a trip. Yeah, he is. What's your diet like? Hey, so I have 2 videos up already on my diet, and I'll have a 3rd one up either tonight or tomorrow that you can watch that details my diet. I eat. Spoiler alert: I eat a lot. My wife's a great cook. I eat what she cooks me. I don't eat crap, but I eat a lot of food. So, like, we have a lot of food in our house. How much time would you spend on weaknesses in CrossFit? As much as you can do. If I have a good percentage, I say 80%. Does your wife intend to do a cookbook? Last question. After this one's last question. Does your wife intend to do a cookbook? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm scared actually right now. I don't think she does. That's a little too much work. She's super busy with her job. All right, last one. How much of your time is spent in project management? So I have a full-time job, so I work 40 hours a week. Hey guys, well, hey, I'm going to end it here. So I appreciate all you guys' questions. This video will still pop up and become available for folks to watch, I think, when I'm done. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys think this is cool and you think, man, that was super cool hanging out with Jake and Winston on Thursday night, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know afterwards when it's done if you really enjoyed it, because these comments will actually go away. But let me know in the chat once the video's up for other folks to watch if you really enjoyed it. I'll definitely probably try to do once a week if I get engagement and if it goes over well and if you guys are like, man, I really like hanging out with Jake and asking a bunch of questions. So anyways, appreciate you guys' time. Winston appreciates you guys' time. Winston bit me a bunch. He wants to go home. He's hungry. He misses mom. So appreciate you guys' time. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again. Yes, I want to end my stream. End.